Hello there. Last Christmas I grabbed an entire Arturia V collection during a sale. And up until now mostly I was using presets. So recently I decided to start learning how to program my own patches with those synths. I'm starting with Arturia Mini V, the recreation of legendary Minimoog. The original hardware is iconic but super pricey. Thankfully Arturia offers a great sounding plugin at a much more reasonable price. So I'll go through a few elements: leads, bass, pads and more. I already have some MIDI notes created earlier, and now let's focus on creating some interesting sound. This is what I have for now. The best thing I heard in my life. Let's make it even better. So this is our default patch for Mini V, aka Minimoog. Let's focus on oscillator bank first. I introduced another oscillator 2. I changed a tuning just a little bit to introduce kind of unison effect, and it makes sounds a little bit wider. Let's now play with oscillator 3. So usually, historically, oscillator 3 on this exact synthesizer was used as a modulation source, and here with Arturia plugin we have a lot of modulation things going on here. We can use this oscillator as well to beefing up a sound, because we work on a lead. I want to make it big, huge and cutting out through the mix. First thing, I want to press this control button. Basically what it does, it allows oscillator to follow the pitch. So if we not engaging this button, then this oscillator will be playing exact same pitch all the time. Let me demonstrate. And when we engage this button, now it works as expected. Let's tweak a little bit more here. I'm more or less fine with how it sounds now. Let's go to the mixer section. Drive allows us to introduce a bit of distortion / overdrive and make our lead sound even more leadier. This feedback dial is basically we sending back sound to the synthesizer and we kind of increasing the volume. It's a bit complicated, but I'm kind of trying to figure out it on my own what it does. If dialed to extreme, we hear more like a brown noise here rather than something musical, so let's be accurate here. And now let's add a little bit of noise, so I prefer pink noise. Noise adds a little bit of grit. Okay, now let's go to filter section, the most interesting part. This synthesizer is known for its great filter. Let's play a little bit with this. Play a little bit with this loudness contours. It's basically an envelope. Let's go to advanced section and add some effects. In advanced section we have a few sections here. We have modulation / arpeggiator, we have keyboard control, we have effect. Let's go straight to effects. So the effects are quite good here, I really like them, and we also have a multi-band. It even has its own OTT, but here it's called OPP. OTT, or in this case OPP, is an MSG for electronic music. Let's add a little bit more modulation here, add just a little bit of movement of filter cutoff, because why not? Let's compare how the default sound was sounding like. This is our patch. And that is a default patch. Alright, so we created our first lead patch. So now let's work on bass. This is our bass line, nothing too fancy. On its own it sounds like this. Again, the greatest part I ever heard. Let's work on making it interesting. So again, starting with oscillators, I want to be a little bit lower. And I want to toggle this unison button right away. I want a big bass. Okay, hello there. We got disrupted by this red monster. I guess I continue working like this. So let's work a little bit on envelope first in that case. So let's play what we have. So yeah, now it sounds like not a sustained note, but multiple notes. In its recreation, Arturia introduced this small button. So basically what it button does, it compensates bass. So when we crank up resonance, naturally in a like hardware environment, we will lose a little bit of bass. But here Arturia compensates it. So for bass, we really want something like this. Good job, Arturia. Alright, I got rid of this red monster. To me it sounds quite good. Let's make it even better by introducing some effects. So because this is bass, we don't need any sort of reverb or echo here. It will smosh our bass. Let's go straight to distortion, for instance. Let's just compare what was the original sound. And that is my bass. Cool, let's go next. Alright, so next part, let's work on pads. For this clip I created a really simple one. Let's listen to its pure form. Nothing too fancy, but let's work on this. Again, we have an initial patch, so let's speed up the process. We already know about this oscillator, mixer modifiers and all this stuff, so let's work on pads. The main characteristic of pad is long attack, so let's crank this attack right away and introduce filter rolls. Let's add a little bit more effects. Comparing to bass, we can add a lot of reverb, stereo effects like echo, delay and flanger of course to pads, so let's do it. Let's add a subtle modulation to make things moving. And let's save the patch. And now let's compare how it will sound comparing to the default patch. Well, of course it will sound much different. Alright then, so we made our pad, so let's move forward. Now let's focus on some ARPs, and I will not be using Ableton's built-in ARP feature, but rather I will work this out using Arturia plugin. So for my ARP I'm using just C power chord, so it's just basically note C and note G playing together. So on its own it sounds like this. Let's go to advanced section and enable arpeggio. So we can choose how much octaves we want to play through. So let's change it to 2 octaves. We also introduce how many repeats we want. Let's dial envelope a little bit so we will hear notes not as if they are sustained notes. We can play around with the direction of arpeggio, so now it goes up. So for this example I will use this down section. And now let's go straight to effects. That was a lot of fun. Designing those patches from scratch gave me a new appreciation for what this synthesizer and analog synthesis in general can do. Next time I'll be exploring another synth from Arturia V collection. Thank you for watching.